Okay, 4, solving logarithmic and exponential equations. Sit down. Okay, how do I solve 2 to the x equals 32? What do I need to do to solve this?
Take the 10,
Okay, Jeremiah says he just knows it, that it's 2 to the 5th, but how would I, yeah, so,
take log 32.
What the
no,
heck?
no. Jeremiah's right. On this example, you just need to know that 2 to the 5th is 32. So you would either know that, or you would break 32 down into a factor tree and figure out that it is 5. Okay, so x would equal 5 in this case. How would you solve this? Log base 4 of x minus log base 4 of 8 equals 0.
I would do x minus 8. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I'm just trying to be a good student. I'm trying to figure it out, bro.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm trying.
Y'all be in step, man.
What would I do to solve this? What do you think I would do? Log base 4 of x minus log base 4 of 8 equals 0. What do you notice about those two things?
Log 4 is the same.
They both have log 4 as the
So
base.
get rid of the log 4.
No,
Oh.
I can't get rid of it yet. I need to first take this one and move it over to the other side.
So plus 8, minus 8.
So add log base 4 of 8 to both sides.
Could you do log 4?
So then you get log, just relax for a second. So you get log base 4 of x equals log base 4 of 8.
Divide by log base 4.
Stop.
X
Well,
equals.
that was a good guess.
X equals what?
Why do you have to guess?
X equals 8. Why does x equal 8, Maddie?
Because log of 4 of x and log base 4 of 8 are the same thing.
Right. So we have to rearrange it so that we can get it set equal to each other, because when they both have the same bases, we disregard that information, and then what is the main point is what equals the other side. So x equals 8, it's a rule of a logarithmic function. So then, if I'm using natural log x minus natural log 3 equals 0, how do I solve that?
X equals 3.
Good, but you're gonna show me work.
Add ln 3 to the other side.
And the reason you're gonna show me work is because eventually we're gonna take this so that it's more than just one step at a time. Okay, so x equals 3. How do you solve 1/3 to the x power equals 9? You have to think backwards. How do you get 3 to 9? What do you do to it?
Square it.
Square it. So if this is 1/3,
Right.
what does that exponent need to be to get it to 9 instead of to 1/9? What type of exponent would it have to be? A negative, yes. So if I square 3 to get it to 9, I'm going to have x equals -2. Because if I plug -2 in there, that means it flips this, yes? So that it becomes this way, and I get 9.
So if it's a fraction or a decimal, is it always going to be a negative?
If
If
your
it's a fraction or
answer
decimal,
comes out
it
to
goes
be
positive.
opposite of that, yes. And so if my answer is a whole number or if my first part is a whole number, but my solution is a fraction or decimal, that means I have to have a negative in there as well. How do I solve e to the x equals 7?
Yeah, there's not no ln.
That would be probably a good idea, yes. Gotta do something with that ln. How do I get rid of e? You have to raise it to the, ln. Right, you have ln and e cancel out, yes? They're the same thing. So if I have e to the x equals 7, then that means I need to take ln e to the x, yes? Ln e to the x, so that ln and e will eventually cancel out. But you have to set it equal to ln 7. What I do to one side, I have to add to the other side. So if I add an ln to one side, I have to add it to the other side of my equation also. So now I have ln e to the x equals ln 7, which means x equals what?
7.
0.
No, ln's gonna equal
Yeah,
that
that
whole, or x is gonna equal that whole thing on the other side. X equals ln of 7,
I don't get it.
the natural log of 7. And you can plug that in your calculator and get an actual answer, yes?
Because E is raised to the ln power.
Because ln and e cancel here. So then you just have x equals ln 7.
Oh, because ln and E are opposites.
Yes, well, yeah, they cancel each other out, yes.
Okay.
If that's how you wanna think of it, sure.
Got it.
Okay, so then we're gonna come to two-step, or maybe possibly more than that, equations. How do I solve 4e to the 2x plus 3 equals 2? What do you think is my first thing I need to do?
Plus 3.
Okay. Let's add 3 to the other side. And you get 4e to 2x equals 5. Now what do you think I need to do? Yeah.
Divide by 4?
Divide by 4. E to the 2x equals 5/4. Now what do you think I need to do? Now what should I do? How do you get rid of e? ln. So I have to put it on this side, yes,
ln e,
and I have to put it on
other side.
this side.
ln 5.
So then, those cancel.
2x equals ln 5 to the 4.
Okay, how do you get rid of this 2? It's not divide by 2.
Mul-
Can you get an E thrown in there somewhere?
No, we don't want an e thrown in there right now.
Wait, why not? Because then it could cancel out that.
We don't want to cancel out that natural log yet. We don't want to do that. Talia was onto something. She said radical.
Plug it into your calculator.
Square.
But-
Oh, yeah, you square it and do it. 'Cause like,
Wait, find the square root of both sides.
No.
Oh, no.
Here's what happens. This 2 and this x were originally exponents, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And when you have an exponent in a function, you bring it to the front of a function, yes? Okay? If this is 2, and I'm technically dividing, or how you get rid of 2 is you would flip and multiply by the reciprocal, yes, of 1/2.
Mm-hmm.
1/2. So if I get rid of 2 here, I do it by doing this, correct? Okay? So over here, I'm going to write it in that form, so that it's x equals 1/2 of ln 5/4. The reason I don't want to put this under 2, and I want to multiply by 1/2, is because it's going to be easier when you put it in your calculator that way. So then I need to just solve that out. I need to do 0.5 ln 5 divided by 4 in those parentheses, and what do you get?
how'd you get the one out to the other side?
No. You're multiplying, you're multiplying.
Do you know what the value of ln is?
What?
Do you know what the value of ln is?
Yeah, it's like 3 points,
Calculator.
it's a long number.
Like
Do
pi?
we have to know that at any
Is it?
point?
No, that's why you use your calculator.
It's probably pi.
You can't know it, like,
It goes on forever.
it goes on forever.
Okay.
Yes,
So, how did you know you're supposed to use ln?
because there's an E, that's the only way to get rid of it.
Um,
Okay, so then what is 1/2 ln of 5/4?
0.11
Okay, so x is congruent to 0.11.
again.
And that is how we're going to start to solve these.
Oh, I don't like this. I think I had it already.
Move 2 to the other side. No, move 3e to negative.
What?
Wait,
Minus
I
two.
thought we
Oh,
were
are
already
you
on the
starting the
one.
next one already, Maddie?
I thought you asked.
She's
about that.
zealous, she's ready.
No, I just want to be done with this problem.
Okay, actually, Maddie, this one's a little tricky.
Oh, no. I
Okay.
don't like trick
Throw
questions.
it to you.
Let me throw this at you. Let's say that this goes like this.
Oh,
Tricks
you
are
put the
for
3
kids.
back up. So that-
Let's say I had something written like that. What would you do?
Is it equal to 0?
Yeah, what would you do if
I
this
would
was set equal to 0? What would you do here?
I don't
Do that factor.
You would factor. Okay, you would factor. This
Is it the same thing?
is the same thing.
Oh, son.
So you
Oh,
factor.
Because this has a 2x, this has an x, this has
Don't
nothing,
think I
it's a
like
whole
that.
number, okay? So we are going to factor it when you see it in this form, okay? So we're gonna do it a little bit, we're gonna kind of separate it out a little. So they rewrite it, the way they teach us to do this is to rewrite this so that it looks like this, okay? Because we wanna bring that 2 out for a minute, and then we have this. Those stay the same, we wanna remember that we have 2 of those, basically is what it's showing us. So we're gonna factor this. So when I go to factor it, I have e to the x, and I have e to the x, yes?
Uh-huh.
What multiplies to give you 2 and adds to give you -3?
Negative one.
Negative 1 and negative
two.
2. Okay, so I factored it. Now, what do I do from there? When I usually solve these, what do I do?
So they go
You set each portion equal to
0.
0. So if I have e to the x minus 2 equals 0, and I have e to the x minus 1 equals 0. When I go to solve this, I add 2 to both sides, I get e to the x equals 2. How do I solve that from there? ln, good. So then x equals ln 2, which gives me what? What is ln 2? 0.69, okay. And then I have to do the same thing over here. I add 1 to both sides, and I get e to the x equals 1. Then I do ln e to the x equals ln 1. These cancel. And I get x equals ln 1. So x is congruent to what? To 0? Or equal to 0? And I get my 2 solutions. So when you see it like that, you have to think factor.
Why do you have to do a congruent, not equal?
I just do well, because I'm rounding to a decimal point, so you can put equal, it's fine, whatever.
Okay. So it won't be wrong if I
No.
put that.
How do I solve the next one? ln 3x equals 2. ln 3x equals 2. How do you get rid of ln? E. Okay, so this time we're going to use e. So you say e to the ln 3x equals e squared. Okay, because e is the one, when you press e in your calculator, it gives you a place to put a power, yes? So when I'm using e, that means everything shifts up to the power spot. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay, so then, that means that e and ln are going to cancel, yes?
Wow, yeah. 3x equals e squared.
Good. 3x equals e squared. Okay, how would you solve from there?
Use ln.
How do you get x by itself? Divide by 3 or multiply by 1/3. Okay, they're gonna show it this way because it's just gonna be easier. Because it's gonna go like this. Okay, so then we can solve that from there because we can plug 1/3 e squared into our calculator. And you should get 2.46-ish, yes?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. This is my favorite, because I think it's the easiest. If I have log base 3 of 5x minus 1 equals log base 3 of x plus 7, what do you do?
Cancel
Cancel.
three.
Yeah, just say 5x minus 1
Are there a lot of those problems on your homework?
equals x plus 7. Listen, we're only doing half of the examples today, so we'll do half of them tomorrow.
Oh, this only half?
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Add 1, subtract x, you get 4x equals 8, and x would equal 2.
Yeah, I like that one.
Okay? That is what we're gonna focus on today. This has, that's like, takes us to like example, I don't know, 6 or something. There are like 13. So tomorrow, we'll do the other half of all of these and it will include some word problems.